It was a good run, my friend. You had a ton of amazing games. Your 3D display was kinda useless, but it was cool. And you had an amazing Eshop. It's sad to see you go, but sadly, you're just too expensive according to the biggest company in Japan. It is what it is. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Nintendo has announced that the Wii U and 3DS eShop will close down on late March 2023, meaning that we will not be able to download any game or DLC after the closure. This came as a surprise to many, including myself, but after the announcement I started thinking about what games we will lose, and then it hit me. We will lose 11 Kirby games on the 3DS alone. Thankfully, 6 of those games are from the Virtual Console, which means that we can play those games elsewhere, which leaves us with the 5 exclusive games specifically made for the 3DS, 4 upgraded minigames, and 1 remake. So today, before they go away, I want to give them a final spotlight to those 5 games. Welcome to Kirby Month! Every week I will release a new video celebrating the long history of Kirby as a tribute to this pink puzzle that changed my and so many people's life. And today, we will look at the main 5 3DS eShop games. We will look at their good parts and bad parts to see if these games still hold up all these years later, as an upgrade to the original minigames and as their own standalone games. But without further delay, let's look at the Kirby games that will be lost to time. To start this journey, let's first look at 3D Classics Kirby's Adventure, released on April 25th, 2012 in Japan, with every other region getting on the 17th. This game is a remake of Kirby's Adventure. This was part of the 3D Classics line of games. Basically, they were enhanced ports of some NES games. The features differ depending on the game, but they all share one quality in particular. Every game had a 3D mode to show the power of the 3DS. I don't know why they chose NES games to show this, but okay. The 3D Classics version of Kirby's Adventure is pretty faithful to the original. Maybe a better background or an added effect here and there, but the main feature of this game, aside from the 3D which I can't show but trust me looks good, is the improved frame rate. The original game is notorious for its slowdown to the point that using certain abilities would slow the game's frame rate to the single digits. We can finally play Kirby's Adventure on all its glory. Not a single frame drop to be seen. It sounds like a little change, but god does it improve this game so much. I think I slightly prefer Nightmare in Dreamland, but for those purists that think the remake changed too much, this is the definitive version of Kirby's Adventure. But yeah, outside of that, it's just Kirby's Adventure. So let's look at something more original. This is Kirby Fighters Deluxe, our first minigame turn spin-off. First released on July 23rd of 2014 in Japan, we first saw this game being part of Triple Deluxe as just Kirby Fighters. It was fun, but it only had 10 abilities and 7 stages with a pretty basic single player mode. Kirby Fighters Deluxe on the other hand aims to be a more complete game, and it totally fails. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We should start with the basic gameplay. Kirby Fighters Deluxe is, as the name implies, a fighting game. To be more specific, a platform fighting game. Basically Smash for the people that don't know. Unlike Smash, this game takes the more traditional health bars, meaning that to eliminate your opponent, you need to hit him until his health bar goes down to 0. If you're playing with a group of 3 or more, you will respawn as a ghost. Ghost Kirbys can attack the still alive Kirbys to revive themselves. Every character is an ability from Triple Deluxe, with no changes to the moveset, meaning that every ability has its own number of attacks. You have some common ones like charge shots or multi-jab attacks, but other than that, every ability is very unique. In terms of buttons, you only have 3, a jump button, a attack button, and a block button. Pressing the attack button while holding a direction or by holding it allows you to use the rest of your attacks. You can also hover by pressing the jump button in the air, and you can dodge by moving while holding the block button. It has that mentality of easy to play but hard to master that both the Kirby and Smash series have, meaning that they had to balance the abilities to make each one of them fair. And this is where my problems begin. The way this game balances the abilities is by simply nerfing each one of them to the ground. Take Sword for example. In the main games, Sword is a very quick ability. His dash attack is meant to close the distance to get those combos only possible by getting really close to the enemies. Well, in this game, the dash attack is painfully slow, and that unlock makes me think the game is running slower than normal. But no, it's just that slow. And it's not only Sword, every ability here is way slower compared to the original counterpacks, which makes the zoners like Archer really shine. And this may be only a me thing, but I don't like this more patient and slower gameplay. Or at least I don't like it when the rush options are terrible. And while we are in the subject of abilities, wow, did they drop the ball here. Only 2 new abilities? And to get those abilities you need to have saved data from Triple Deluxe. I mean, I don't know a single human being that bought Fighters Deluxe before Triple Deluxe, but that's essentially $40 DLC. At least those abilities are cool. With these 2 abilities, the complete roster is Sword, Cutter, Beam, Parcel, Hammer, Bomb, Whip, Archer, Fighter, Ninja, and the newcomers Beetle and Bell. My favorite is Beetle because it's the only one that I feel it's fun. But what fighting game is good if there is no multiplayer, right? Well, Kirby Fighters has one of those too. This is a pretty normal multiplayer mode, also called training mode if you want to play along with CPOs. Yep, that means that there is no real training mode to practice your skills. But oh well, first you need to choose your ability, color, hat and handicap. Handicap is basically how much health you want to have. The easier the more health you get and vice versa. After everyone is done, you can press Y for most settings like how many items will appear, if the hazard will be on and off. And you heard me right, this game had a hazard toggle way before Ultimate did. Smart thinking there, Hal. After that, you need to choose if the match will be a free-for-all or the new to this game, team mode. By the name you already know what I mean. Finally, every player chooses a stage between the 12 available stages, then the match starts. Nothing special, but nothing bad. I personally would have liked a more in-depth item toggle like in Smash, but hey, that's just a small nitpick. But what if you're alone? Well, as said before, a training mode is basically multiplayer mode but with CPUs, which leave us with the single player mode. In this mode, you need to choose one of the abilities and the difficulty. Of course, I picked very hard mode because I hate myself. After that, the game begins. This is your standard arcade mode. You need to beat random opponents on random stages. Sometimes a 1v1, sometimes it's a team match. Sometimes every Kirby has the same ability and sometimes everyone has a different ability. It's very bare bones, but it keeps the replay value, I guess. My biggest problem is the AI. It's really weird, like sometimes I feel like they don't let me breathe, comboing me from left to right, avoiding every attack I do, while sometimes they're more dumb than a brick. Same goes for your partner in some of the fights, although I feel like they're way dumber than the opponent AI. But that's it for the normal rounds. There are 2 special rounds. Round 5 is a team boss fight against Krakow. It's pretty similar to the Triple Deluxe fight, so nothing special. The other section is round 9, the last one. In this round, you face Team Dedede in the Fountain of Dreams. The number of Dededes depends on your difficulty with 64 members if you're on very hard. You will first battle a ton of small Dededes. After that you will face 2 medium-sized Dededes and the real Dedede at the same time. If you defeat the medium ones first, the real Dedede will get super huge, beginning the final battle. After the tough fight is over, you have beaten single player mode with that ability. Completing the mode for the first time with each ability will give you a hat for that ability. Beating very hard mode for the first time will unlock Shadow Kirby as a playable skin for multiplayer. If you beat the mode with every ability, it will play the credits. If you do that in very hard mode, the game gives you a little useless message. Well, I guess it's better than nothing. And so, Kirby Fighters Deluxe comes to a close. Overall, just get Kirby Fighters 2. This deluxe version, while better than the original, still feels like a little extra right than an actual fighting game. The sequel on Switch improves on everything this game does and then more. There is literally no reason to play this game. Let's hope the other Triple Deluxe minigame got a better treatment. Next up is Dedede Drum Dash Deluxe, an upgrade to Dedede Drum Dash, releasing the same day as Fighters Deluxe. In this game, you play as Dedede trying to get from point A to B while jumping and vibing at the beat of the music. You heard me right, this is a rhythm game! And a pretty unique one at that. In most other games, you don't control the character, you just push the corresponding button when the time is right. In this game, however, you actually play as Dedede, meaning that you can move and jump whenever you want. In most stages, this doesn't matter since you will be holding right all the time, but on the harder stages, you will need to zoom from left to right in seconds. Moving is not the only thing you can do, there is also high and super jumps. Dedede will do a little bounce on its own, but if you press the A button right as he touches the drums, he will do a high jump. Do that again, and you get a super jump. Maybe I haven't played enough rhythm games, but I have never seen such a dynamic game in this genre. Because of this rhythm movement, you won't play the main melody. Instead, you and Dedede will play the drums. This means that no matter how fast or slow you play, you will still be forced to move and jump at the beat of the music. But that sounds too easy. What's the catch? The catch is that at the peak of each jump, you can press the A button again to do a backbeat for extra points. So if you want to get the highest score, you will need to beat the level as fast as possible, don't get hit, get all the coins, and finally do a backbeat on every jump. In the hardest stages, a single missed backbeat means an instant restart. But enough of game mechanics. Everyone knows the best rhythm games are the ones with the biggest bangers, so let's look at the song list. The first 4 songs are from Deluxe. We first have Flora Fields, a pretty easy stage to start. It's meant to be the tutorial of the game after all, and I think it does a pretty good job at it. Also, the song itself is a perfect blend between chill and active. It's slow, but it's not boring. Good start! Next is Mustache, another easy level with a catchy song. It does introduce moving and small drums, ramping up the difficulty a bit. Sadly, this and the next song are the only ones that are not a remix, but instead just straight ports from Deluxe. It's a little disappointing with this level, but I can forgive it with the next, because after that is Reflecting Laughter from Deluxe. A classic. They had to put this one. The level itself introduces number coins and breakable drums. This is where you will first have to learn how to move and jump with Dedede. The number coins make you position your jumps much more carefully, and those breakable drums teach you about being quick and not wasting time jumping on a single drum for too long. Another good level with an amazing song. Next up is Bouncing Boss Battle, a slower version of the boss theme but still a banger. This level introduces blindfold banners and a lot of enemies. You can really see how the tempo and difficulty go higher and higher. As in those 4 songs, we have our first non-Deluxe track, in the form of City from Kirby 3DS. And god did they pick one good. Once again, it's a slower version of the original, but it's phenomenal. Those violins really make it sound magical. But the level itself introduces spiky drums, which are basically faster and spikier moving drums. It does play a lot more with the number coins though. The next level is Boarding the Helper. Also, shout out to the description of this song being that tune from Revenge of Meta Knight. This level introduces propeller drums that basically force you to be perfect. Couple that with spiky rings and an even faster tempo, this level is no joke. But that doesn't compare to the bonus level, Round. This level, this is really hard but really fun. Everything goes in here. Breakable drums, number coins, propeller drums, giant spiky pencils, and an amazing song. Some may not like this rendition because it sounds like that flute kid from school that just went nuts, but this song is just too good to be ruined. And let's see, the next song is Oh, that's it for the songs? Huh, only 7 songs? That's really bad for a rhythm game. Thankfully, once you beat out the levels, you will unlock the secret levels, basically way harder versions of the original song, but they are just that, harder versions, not new songs. Those levels are super fun, don't get me wrong, but I feel like this game still has a lot of potential. And you know, speaking of potential, why is this the only Kirby game without Kirby as the main character? Just imagine, Meta Knight's Fruit Ninja, Bandana D's fishing game, or even an Adeline Art Academy game. The possibilities are endless. Okay, for serious this time, I really like this game. I feel like this is a type of rhythm game unlike any other. I like the music, the visuals, the level design, and that final level with a reprised version of Crown was one of the most fulfilling things I have done in a Kirby game. But it's just too short, and it's even worse since this is the only Eshop game that doesn't have a sequel on the Switch. Maybe that will change in the future, but for now, this is amazing, but a disappointment. Oh yeah, and you can do this! Music to my ears. Maybe the next game will lighten things. No, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I am not playing that game ever again. Okay, fine, just for Kirby months. Team Kirby Clash was a minigame from Kirby Planet Robot that was then upgraded to its own eShop game just like the two from Deluxe. This is Team Kirby Clash Deluxe. Released on April 12, 2017 in the US, with it later coming to every other region on April 13? Really? One day? You just had to delay the game by one day. What's even the... You know what? Forget it. This game is the only one with a story, so let's start with that. Long ago, there was a beautiful and peaceful land called the Dream Kingdom. Suddenly, a huge onslaught of enemies have appeared, ruining the peace and scaring the people away from the village. So it's now the job of Team Kirby to find out what is happening and to defend the kingdom. And this is where we start playing. We first meet Bandana D to tell us the basic tutorials, because unlike the other games, we don't go from level to level. Instead, we first need to head to the quest board. Here we can organize our party, connect to friends, decide who we want to fight, check the enemy specific mission, stuff like that. Before we head out to battle, we need to first choose our and the rest of the team's role. We can choose from 4 roles: the speedy master of the blade, sword hero, the slow powerhouse, hammer lord, the powerful wizard, bean mage, and the mischievous healer, Dr. Hill. At first you will only have a single companion, but after a couple of quests, the boys will be all together. But seeing how there are 4 Kirbys and 4 roles, one may assume that every Kirby needs to have its own ability, but no! You can very easily customize your team as much as you want, and the game even challenges you to do so with missions. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about the basic gameplay. Every quest plays basically like a boss battle. Team Kirby will chop in a flat area with the boss, and your job is to deal as much damage as possible to defeat it. But be careful, every quest is on a time limit. After some damage, you will trigger the Furious mode, which basically works as a phase 2, where the enemies start getting new attacks. After some more hits in this phase 2, the enemy will drop power tablets. If everyone gets them, you can unleash the powerful Team Meteor, dealing massive damage and stunning the enemy. Once you beat the boss, you will get experience depending on how fast you beat that boss. Get enough experience and level up. Repeat the process like 100 times and beat the game. It's a good pick up and play formula. If you play for a long time, it will get repetitive though, but that's clearly not the intention of this game. To be honest, I did beat the entire game in just one sitting, and yes, it was painful, but I can't knock the game down for that. But you know, this game is really fun. But man, some of these later quests are getting really hard. Maybe I'm just not that prepared. Let's just get some more equipment and... Oh, I don't have enough materials. Okay, maybe I can just grind for some levels and Oh, I don't have enough bigger? Okay, that reminds me of a mobile game, but maybe it was put on for some other reason. And I can refill the gauge by just spending some apples. That still doesn't solve the massive difficulty spike. I don't know, this is looking very fishy. How much was this game again? Let's see. Free? It's free to play? Wait, that's not right. Oh, wait. Maybe. Oh no. The materials. The apples. The difficulty spike. The bigger. No. It can't be. This game. It has microtransactions. Yeah, I wanted to avoid talking about it, but it's just impossible not to bring up. This game is not free. This game is free to start. That means that the download is free, but you will eventually hit a wall where the best option are grind for days or pay. I probably don't need to tell you why this is coming, but really? Kirby? A Kirby game has microtransactions? That just sounds wrong. You know what? I fell once to this scam, but never again. Let me just do a little search real quick and ta-da! I know how magically have every material maxed out. And wow, does this game get way better this way. You level up fast, your tree gets bigger, you get more cool weapons, you get more materials, the bosses are fun. Just wow. Not everything is better with microtransactions though. For example, the bosses, or to be more specific, the boss selection. Out of the main 45 quests in this game, only 5 are new, and even then you can make a case that they are not completely unique. And not to mention that those 45 quests doesn't mean that there is 45 different bosses, because you will fight harder versions of some of those bosses. Some bosses you need to fight 3 different times. And another problem, the story. I know story isn't a huge factor in Kirby games, especially in spin-offs, but since this game has a story, yeah, I think it's worth talking about it, because this plot gets very stupid. Like, after beating Pyramid, because yes, this idiot is also in this game, Team Kirby hears that a mage is behind all of this. Our heroes go to the pyramid where they face Landia. After defeating Landia, they encounter the one behind everything, Taranza. And wow, would you look at that, an actual Taranza fight. Neat. Once defeated, Team Kirby notices that there are still enemies attacking. So after some more battles, they fight themselves at the decisive battlefield, where they fight Landia EX. Because we really needed to fight the same boss a couple quests apart. Our heroes fight the 4-headed dragon, defeating the Guardian one last time and bringing peace once again. Just kidding, after a couple of days later, and this is where it gets really stupid, a dimensional drift opens up releasing Parallel Susie, because f*** it, why not? After that, they fight Parallel Landia, cause we didn't have enough Landias, I guess. Defeating the dragon reveals that Taranza isn't dead and he was the one that opened the dimensional drift. And instead of using that, Taranza decides to use the Black Mirror, unleashing Dark Taranza, and after that, in the same level mind you, Dark Taranza decides to release King D-Mine? The king then betrays Dark Taranza and fights you, and after defeating King D-Mine, which has an amazing theme by the way, the game says, "F*** you, do it again!" So we just fight King D-Mine again to finally end this mess. Jesus! This game has a lot to take in, from the story to the gameplay to the microtransactions, but this puts me in a hard place because how do I judge this game? Do I not count the microtransaction making this game a grind fest? Or do I judge it with the microtransaction making this a fun game behind a limitless paywall? Honestly, I don't care. I liked this game when it was fun, but I hated everything else except the music. The music in this game is amazing. But in the end, I'm just tired and there's still one more game. Our final stop is Kirby's Blowout Blast, an upgrade to Kirby's 3D Rumble from Planet Robot. I don't know why isn't it called Kirby 3D Rumble Deluxe, but okay. Unlike the pair from Triple Deluxe, Blowout Blast and Team Kirby Clash were released a couple months apart from each other, with Blowout Blast releasing on July 4th, 2017 for Japan and July 6th for the rest of the world. Oh no, too late, oh my gosh. This is a full 3D Kirby game. Sora. Yeah, I'm talking about the elephant of the room as soon as possible. This game focuses way more on the puzzle aspects. Every level is divided in 4 or 5 sections, kinda like a worldly and normal Kirby game but shorter, so I just count them as sections rather than levels. In these levels, your mission is to go from point A to B, just like a normal Kirby game. But this time, the main point of the game is to rank up points but not getting hit, beating the levels fast enough, getting all the coins, defeating all the enemies, and getting the highest combos. Because of this high score mentality, it needed to be designed in a way where they are short and full of enemies, meaning that platforming takes a huge hit. Most levels are just straight lines where you can very slightly move up and down, and also they lock you in an enemy gauntlet way too many times, like at least 2 or 3 times per section. It's because of this that every level blends together for me. Oh, and also there aren't any copy abilities, so every level plays the same too. But speaking of those levels, we have in order Green Greens, Float Islands, Castle Lolo, Bubbly Clouds, and Mount Dedede. As you already noticed, this game has a Dreamland motive. I don't know why they changed level 2 and 3 around, but okay. This is where I get to praise the game a little. This game sounds and looks amazing. The other games were also pretty good looking and sounding, but this game takes it to the next level. These are some of the best remixes in any Kirby game, and it's super cool to see stages like Castle Lolo and Bubbly Clouds in 3D. And fun fact, these floating square patterns come from the second prototype of the console Kirby GCN game. Really cool how almost every Kirby game nowadays takes something from that console game. Speaking of cool Dreamland things in 3D, the bosses! Probably my favorite part of the game. They actually take the 3D space to their advantage. And look who's back! Lolo and Lala! Wow, long time no see! Sadly, not everything is good in these bosses. For some reason, they took the pre-bosses from the original and made them the boss of level 1 and 3, meaning that we have Lolo for level 1, Krako Jr. for level 2, Lolo and Lala for level 3, Krako for level 4, and Dedede for level 5. You see the problem? We will get back to those bosses, but for now, let's talk about the EX level. EX levels are harder versions of the normal levels. Another reference, this time to Return of the King of Superstar Ultra. But this is where the pain begins. You see, to beat this game 100%, you need to get all the platinum medals. To do that, you need to perfect the stage. A single mistake and it's over. And it's not as simple as not failing. There are sections where you need to guide enemies to another enemies to get the biggest change. So you can probably see why it's hard to manipulate enemies while not getting hit, while being fast as possible. And even if you do all that right, there is still a chance you will barely miss the platinum. Oh yeah, and the boss fights are also harder. Thankfully, you only need to get the platinum for each section and not do a marathon of the entire world. That would be stupid. Anyways, our final boss is Dedede, with a new design again for some reason. They really can't decide what design to use, huh? Well, it doesn't matter because the fight itself is very fun. Rex mode version makes it a little bit harder but not too much. And that's Kirby Blowout Blast! Wait, what do you mean I forgot a level? 5x is the last level, right? Okay, I didn't want to mention this, but fine. This game has a true final level, the Secret Path. This level is an even harder mix between all the levels, including the bosses. And the worst part, you have to beat the 5 sections on one perfect run. And if you thought the EX levels were hard to platinum, then you are in a world of pain. This level took me 3 whole hours to platinum. One single mistake and it was over. You don't know how many times I got to the last section just to get hit. I'm not even joking when I said that this was one of the hardest, most painful experiences I had in a game. But I did it. And I will never do that again. But yeah, that was Blowout Blast. I think with the Forgotten Land being a thing, I can appreciate this game for what it was and not what I wanted it to be when it first came out. Now I see it as a fun high score based game. I still think it's in the lower end of Kirby games, but I wouldn't say it's bad. Except that last level, I still have nightmares about that. And so we have reached the end. Will I miss these games? No! You can play Adventure at full speed with an emulator, the Switch has a better version of Fighters and Kirby Clash, Drum Dash is too short, and Blowout Blast will be completely overshadowed by the Forgotten Land. But it's not about if the games are good or memorable. At the end of the day, they are still games. A lot of people put their hard work on these projects and they deserve to be preserved. I know maintaining the Eshop costs money to maintain, but it's just sad to see these pieces of gaming history go. Thankfully, not everything is negative. On the good side, almost every Eshop game got preserved by the fans. 3DS Homebrew is the easiest to access it has ever been, and Citra is a fantastic emulator that can be used to preserve and enhance these soon to be lost games. If Nintendo doesn't care about their games, we will. That's all from me, and I'll see you on the next drive.